We should start the session in 15 minutes. Welcome everyone. I think we'll get started. Welcome to the Digital Foundation and Digital Architect Pavilion. This is a very special pavilion because it combines youth culture and digital innovation. And it's been developed by my staff, Cousin, who has been a very active participant with Leader and the Climate Change Coalition, as well as many other organizations. And we want to thank you for allowing us to have this panel here today. It's so great pleasure. The CCC is celebrating 5 years this year, and we'll be launching a new strategy later today at the Global Innovation Hub at the but here, today, we are talking about digital innovations for accelerating the supply of voluntary carbon market. And we're going to have a real life use case of how digital innovations can help projects streamline the carbon credit originating process and also attract early stage financing to counter implementation costs. And I'm very excited about this because I've known Alexi since 2017 when I invited him to a panel at World Bank Innovate for Climate. It was the first and only panel that year on blockchain to carbon markets. And he gave a very exciting presentation at the time of the first large carbon credit exchange on blockchain. I think we've come a long way. So I'd like to take a moment to have the panelists introduce themselves. So I think Nicholas, we start with you.
Thank you very much. It's an honor and pleasure to be here. Thanks for the invitation. I'm the CEO of Pavilion. We're a central enterprise from Austria working in food and CO2 reduction. So we produce on the whole side of our oil and carbon credits for the voluntary carbon market. This is a pyramid people get our technology for free. So we have chemists, molecules, pleasure being here.
Hi, my name is Alexi, and I'm CEO and founder of Evercity. Thank you to welcome you today at our event, and I hope that it will be interesting for you and for all the folks who are watching us online again.
Closer, louder.
Opportunity for all the digital innovation enthusiasts to be part of this ecosystem of COP27 and I think we have a wonderful job to bring the ecosystem together. My name is Ariana Chatterjee and I'm from GMB. I just visited for GMB, but I'm on finance and technology enterprise and it's really easy for us to contribute to this.
We have online another one that we published this out. Because of the one of your introductions and then introduce yourself please.
Just a second.
From us in Vancouver, in the middle of the night. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's an absolute pleasure. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. GM from Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. Delighted to beam in and join you there. I hope you guys are all having a wonderful, safe, productive time. So I work with EcoTrust Canada. We build economies that provide for life, and really thrilled to be working with Evercity and the team there on building digital tools to enable the carbon market work that we're doing here in British Columbia, helping develop Indigenous-led natural climate solutions projects and bringing the sort of bench strength and knowledge of the last 20 years of the carbon market, more quickly into the digital age and pairing them up where they make a lot of fit. And delighted to be working with you all on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Joseph. And actually, I should mention that I'm Kevin Foster. I'm actually the executive director of the Individual Finance Alliance, which is a not-for-profit think tank that was established by UNEP and shortly now after back at the World Economic Forum in 2017. Today I'm wearing my very proud hat as an advisor to Evercity for a number of years. It's actually designed and started for Evercity last year at COP26 in Glasgow. So I'd like to hand you Michael Victory to walk us through the presentation of the platform.
Thanks a lot, Catherine. So, your thoughts, can you go to the presentation on? Thank you. based here. Okay, so thanks again for coming, everyone, and I'm happy to start this short presentation of our new product related to carbon markets, aiming at boosting the supply of voluntary carbon credits. And I'm going to show you around the concept and the product, and then we'll have a great discussion with participants of the pilot project that we're implementing, and then another surprise for the last part of the session. So to be satisfied. So that's actually me and my co-founder Liza. Unfortunately, she's not here today, but together with her, we've been developing climate innovations for already more than 5 years, and we've been running a carbon fund since 2011. We've been working with leading multinational corporations, helping them as well to offset their emissions and plan their sustainability strategies. And one of the important milestones that we also presented in Bonn 5 years ago with Catherine and other climate change coalition members was this very first carbon credit transaction on the blockchain that our group supported. And that was an important milestone that showed us a lot how digital technologies can really change space and improve it, make those markets more democratic and accessible to projects from around the globe. But it actually took like more than 5 years for this technology to be adapted by the market. And now we're seeing the rise of blockchain in carbon markets and green finance, and that's what we were fighting for together with Catherine, the Beers Lab, and some other folks who are here today. Here, I want to start my presentation showing some of the results of the survey that Evercity did among 100 carbon project developers from across the globe. I will pose some of the important questions regarding their work. So you see here, first, so there were more questions, and this is available by demand. You can contact me for the full results of the survey. But here, there are 2 questions. So we asked global project developers, what are the main barriers for the project owners to actually start the process, to actually, start with carbon projects, because these folks, they really know that. And what you see here is that the answer was most of the project owners, most of the projects in developing countries, they actually struggle with upfront costs that they need to pay for project registration, for auditing, for creation of necessary documents like project design, documentation. And that's one of the biggest barriers for projects around the globe to enter the carbon market and proceed with issuance of carbon credits. And some of the other problems is they just don't know where to start from. So carbon is something interesting for them. And we have our colleagues from Kazakhstan, for example, sitting here in the front row. And we were asking in their community as well, so what prevents you from starting your projects, because you're doing a lot of renewable energy, you're doing a lot of agriculture, so what really stops you from entering the carbon market and issuing carbon credits? And that's what they said, they don't know where to start from. And who can help them with this? So they need help understanding carbon offsets. And that's a very big problem right now on the market, stated by everyone. And then we also posed another more specific question, which is related to the main factors that are slowing down the PDD creation. And you know that the PDD, project design document, is a key document that describes everything around the carbon project. It describes, it evaluates the emission reductions, and is aligned with a certain standard, certain methodology. So most of the project developers globally indicate that the biggest struggle here is that project developers have a limited capacity within their team, and they cannot, have and process more and more projects and more documents, because it's a very intensive work. And the other problem is that slow data collection from the project. So you see here, there's this back and forth problem. There's a professional player who is doing the PDD, there are project owners who are, sending the data, and there are many emails, there are many calls. So project developers are trying to explain what it actually is, what you need to send, and project owners are quite slow at that. So also you see some other problems like the market infrastructure that could be more efficient. That's a very interesting point we should all think about, but that's not the topic of our today's session. And yeah, excessive back and forth communication. That's something that most of the project developers globally indicated as one of the biggest problems on the way to reaching carbon credits in an efficient manner. So that's what the report shows us. Next slide, please. And here, from the report, we can indicate key problems that actually prevent more projects from developing countries issue carbon credits. So first of all, and the foremost, is high upfront costs and delayed delivery. So the projects have to invest, their own money. They have to spend their budgets on something that will be delivered in from 1 to 3 years. So carbon credits do not originate immediately. You have to pass all these procedures. You have to execute the project, and you have to invest upfront to survive until the day where the carbon credits are actually originated and you can sell them. That's to me the biggest problem. Then there's no guarantee of purchase. That's another problem. Right now the market is changing, it's growing. The voluntary market is now 2 billion, but the problem is still there. If you're issuing carbon credits, no one could guarantee they will be purchased immediately. And finally, low transparency and greenwashing concerns. This is something that everyone is aware of. This is something that buyers of carbon credits are afraid of. And this is something that prevents projects to address the buyers, the end users directly. So that's something that should be changed. Next slide. Okay, so we solve those problems by introducing our platform, which streamlines carbon origination, but also green debt origination. Yes, we work with these two instruments because they're both green finance instruments. They are beneficial for various types of projects, but the secret is that they both have the same procedures and very similar mechanisms, but different standards and methodologies. So by evaluating those similarities in the green bond and the carbon life cycle, we've been able to create a universal workflow, universal platform that can work with both instruments. And the secret is that we're not trying to disrupt the market in a way that we're excluding someone from this process. Instead, we are just connecting all of the stakeholders. So we need project developers, we need auditors, of course, and verifiers. We need project owners, we need investors, and we connect all of them together on a single platform. They all see the same things, they can work together, communicate together, and this creates network effects. We widely use process and document automation because document automation is something that you really need on the carbon and green bond market. There are all sorts of documents that are very complicated, and for many years, consultants, and project developers were the only folks who could actually carry this task. And that's why it was expensive for projects. So now with our tool, we're not saying we don't need project developers, we'll still need them. That's a very important job. But most part of the documents, now issuers will be able to create themselves using our platform. And finally, blockchain, distributed ledger, monitoring tools. So we use the distributed ledger technology and those monitoring tools together to establish a collection of the real-life impact and risk data, and then storing this on the public and distributed ledger to ensure data immutability and transparency throughout the value chain of those green finance instruments. So those are three key features of our platform that help us succeed and help us develop new products like the one you will see just now. Next slide, please. So, Today we're presenting a product related to early stage financing of carbon projects, and it consists of several parts. So the concept is literally that a project owner comes to the platform, and there the platform guides him smoothly through the process. So first, he needs to describe the project himself, and for that we have a beautiful user-friendly interface. But that's not all. I'm not showing you all today. We also have another feature which is called the project idea node creation. So after the project fills in the information about itself, fills in the basic info, then we invite the project to start the carbon part of the project with creation of a project idea node. And this project idea node is very important, not only for the project itself to make up their minds, and structure the carbon content of the project, but also for the project developers and auditors that will then work with this project. And here, our aim at first is to help project describe itself, then describe the carbon part in a very well structured way, and then we have functions that match the projects with project developers. So here we still need project developers, and we have a marketplace where project developers can meet the project and start working together towards creation of a PDD. So literally, this part is guiding the user through the complicated process and bridges him with experts that are needed to go to the next level. So actually create the project design documentation and then start the fundraising process. Next slide, please. Well, then we here, that's the most exciting part to me, and I guess to everyone else here, is the part where we actually help projects to get early stage carbon financing. So if you remember from the last slide, from the previous slide, a project describes himself, then creates a project idea node that helps to bridge the project with a certain project developer, and then they start together creating a PDD. In the future, we will help to create PDDs as well, and our friends and partners at HBR Foundation and Videra are developing an open source, publicly available warehouse of all the methodologies that are digitized and can be used by our platform and other platforms across the globe to help create PDDs, and that's going to be the next step. So once they're bridged, they're creating the PDD, and they're going to auditors. They're validating the document, the PDD, and then they are undergoing the registration with a standard, with a certain carbon standard, for example, a beer or gold standard, or many other standards like GCC and others that are there in the market. So once these three things are done, our platform allows to issue carbon forward contracts or emissions purchase agreements with delayed delivery. So we can call them both ways. And then tokenize those emission purchase agreements. So what it literally means. So once the project has created PDD, it has a project developer, it has an auditor has verified the PDD, the project has been registered with a standard. So we, as Evercity platform, having the proofs online, we understand that the project is good enough and will pretty much, with high chance, go through the process, execute the project, and then issue carbon credit. So we are helping the project now to receive early stage financing by tokenizing the emissions purchase agreement with delivery that will be made once the carbon credits are actually issued. And those agreements are going online as tokens, and they can be already sold to investors that will hold them and then can trade them as well. So this provides immediate liquidity from day one, and this is something really new for the carbon market. Because once you have this token that represents 1 ton of CO2 that will be received in the future, you can also sell it to someone else. And the price of those tokens are fluctuating depending on the progress of the project, how the project is going through the milestones, how it is, actually delivering what was promised. So we're keeping an eye on that. We're tracking that on a distributed ledger. And then the price of the token might fluctuate. And generally, the price of carbon forward, so to say, they're lower than the actual price of carbon credits. Because that's a risky instrument, and we understand that not all of the project might go till the end. But to ensure we are addressing the risks, we have the system in place, we have a monitoring system in place, and the projects have to report on the milestones, on the distributed ledger, and this will affect the price of the token. Once the carbon credits are issued in a traditional registry, they are exchanged for carbon forwards, and investors get high-quality carbon credits from globally accepted standards to their accounts. Or there might be some other options, but that's another topic. So that's what we can do now, powered with Hedera Hashgraph in partnership with HBAR Foundation. And we're announcing this partnership today and tomorrow. This is exactly the technology that can help us do what we need here. Next slide, please. And finally, we also have additional functions that help to promote the project. We integrate digital MRV solutions. We invite, of course, verifiers to verify documents and projects online. We have integration of various monitoring tools like sensors and satellites. We have a KYC process because this is something that is very important for the carbon standards, and that's what we care for a lot. And also we have some really cool features around climate risks. So not a lot of conversations regarding physical climate risks and carbon projects for some reason. And our platform introduces an automatic way to identify physical climate risks of a certain project on a certain territory. And this is more or less aligned with TCFD standard, which is a key standard for physical climate risk. So here we're adding this climate risk component, and we consider that this could also affect the forward prices and the carbon credit prices as well. And we want the buyers to see the climate risk component of their project that they're buying. Next slide, please. So here I want to say a few words about blockchain and Hedera and HBAR Foundation, with whom we just started our partnership. We've chosen this technology not only because it's carbon negative, not only because it's solves a lot of problems that blockchains have nowadays, which is much faster, much more efficient than most of the other DLT or blockchain solutions. But more importantly, they have a great team which is very much focused on sustainable finance and sustainability as a whole. They're making this topic as one of their key topics, and none of the other blockchain infrastructure providers are doing so for now, and it's great leadership. And they also have this software called Guardian. And in the Guardian, we found something that is really different from many other platforms and approaches presented here at COP and before this. Why? Because it's literally a set of no-code or low-code tools that anyone can use to create their own environmental programs, initiatives, and assets. And they're all connected, so we can see the full traceability of all of these programs and assets using some browser. And that's what we really want from distributed ledger. We want full transparency, we want immutability, we want traceability of green finance instruments throughout the value chain, and we don't want to be blockchain experts to use it. We want no-code solutions to create our environmental applications, and that's the only organization that so far has gone that far on that approach. And I encourage you to look into it and use these tools yourself, because we're using it and they're working. Next slide, please. So I'm already ending my presentation. Just want to say a few words about who is this for. So first of all, Evercity platform is for project owners that have no prior market experience in carbon markets, that want guidance So our digital system takes them literally by the hand, guides through all the complicated processes, helps to create some of the key documents, and then find partners to proceed on that process. Of course, the tool is for project developers because we very much facilitate their work. We help them raise efficiency of their team. We help them to more efficiently communicate with the project. We have commenting features where this back and forth procedure is being reduced to just one interface when you can command and you can work together on a certain document. And of course, this is for traders and for end users and buyers who can buy not only carbon credits that are already issued, but they can buy carbon forwards at a lower price and help really to contribute to development of carbon projects. Because there is a small, problem here. If you're buying carbon credits, you're actually buying the end result. You're not helping the project to get through. You're not helping to execute the project. And with carbon forwards, you are. So that's a big difference. Next slide. Okay, so I encourage you to go to our website and sign up for the platform. Try some of the features that we presented. Now they're part of them are live, part of them will be live before the end of November. And I'm ending my presentation with a very important announcement. So here, at this stage, we have a project with whom we already started this process, the process of issuing emissions purchase contracts with delayed delivery of carbon forwards. So I'm happy to give the floor to Nicholas, the company called Pavilion, and their beautiful project that has very big impact, which is very innovative, and this is the project that is using our platform now.
Yeah, thank you very much, and thanks for a wonderful, I would think, very important presentation. It is, let's put this, we come from the other side. So we are project owners and we are project developers, currently. Project owners for other developers, project owners and developers for our own programs, on development we do in India and Uganda mainly. Coming from water purification, working in solar water disinfection, household habits, and means working up to 10 SDGs, really making an impact. So we are high class. And that's exactly what you mentioned here. When we do a project with about 60,000 products, full scale EPA on the Boston, it's a pre-investment of $1 billion. So what we did for India is start with a small capital line. We always got to do capital lines. No, we want to get social impact investment for this kind of project. We in the global south on the base of the pyramid, really making an impact. We do a lot of wash trainings, behavior change, natural hygiene trainings. So when you have one speaker and so on and so forth, we can make an impact. Post one says 3 SDGs have to monitor. We monitor 10 SDGs. And on the quarterly report, annual report, you can see it all around us. For us, exactly this step, and bringing in understanding what the problem is, and being project owner and developer currently, helps us to understand what we're achieving. The process is this innovative approach. You have to understand the difference between a project owner, developer, finance parts, and bringing the token. This is the interesting thing. I'm personally a lawyer. I started this journey in process a year ago. I still don't understand it. I just can see the legal side. It's an obligation, it's a financial instrument. And that's the important thing. This is something we can see here in the software. It's a new approach. We have some other ones. It has one with this kind of development. And we'll see here 4 years, we'll see the development here. So very proud to work here together. And we start a journey together. And hopefully scale up our technology. It's a handheld device. We now have around 140,000 credits by 2023. Another EPA, you can do 3 to 5 EPAs a year, and you can join us.
Before you move on to the next speaker, I also wanted to ask you about the risk finance process that we were talking about earlier, because I think This integrated streamlined process is really shifting the capacity. I wanted to just come back to that point with you.
Yes, with pleasure. So when we start VPAs in the way we look for financing, and then it's a forward contract with the direct client, like a big corporation. They have their own teams, sustainability teams, whatever. But what we see more and more is risk management on the side. It's using the CFO. So when you do a contract with us, we give you some money up front, so you have an obligation on your balance sheet. But if you go in the way of finance programs in a way, let's put it not on the link, yeah? Then you have actually a finance tool on the balance sheet, which helps your balance as well, yes? And you have something you can trade, so it's much more, it's a higher security as well. Up to now, we should only talk to promise, yeah? But it's interesting from a finance point of view for large corporations. It's not only that you can sell the forward as a tool, it's if you have it as a large corporation, you set it off, you have to put it out, get the insurance 23, 24, whatever, yeah, but you still have a kind of financial instruments you can have on your balance sheet.
Thank you very much. Please, can you be in Vancouver?
Are you guys looking to me? All right. It's sometimes hard to hear via the mic. Shall I talk? What shall I talk about?
Tell us about your involvement in the agency, your long-standing expert in skill. You yourself has worked on so many elements of the processing technology in the edit. So please tell us your insights into what this actually means.
Wonderful, thank you. Well, it's so great to see Alexi, to see your presentation and to see the announcement of the work together with Helios. Really amazing project, and very notable that the work of Evercity is longitudinal to help all the way along the project development timeline. And I would say it's a real thrill to be able to work with Helios, who has already been is so far advanced and will be issuing in the near term. And so that sort of is a really excellent partnership to speed this up, and a very beautiful project and offsets to be launching the tool on. So I've been working on carbon market development for 18 years now, was part of the team that submitted the world's first Kyoto Clean Development Mechanism methodology back in 2004. And for me, it's just really, back in the day, there were very few people who had the skill sets and tools and abilities to write the offset methodologies and protocols, and then to document projects to those to enable the ultimate creation of these environmental assets. And though there's been sort of ups and downs in our, the global capacity to do this has grown. I forget where our total number is now, but maybe 3 billion tons total if you include the CDM. Don't quote me on that. But this is amazing. This is a huge contribution to climate, but it's a drop in the bucket in terms of what we need to be delivering every year. And there's been all of this work that's been done, by the people in the four walls there in Sharm el Sheikh, and outside a couple layers. But what I see Evercity doing here, what I see Helios engaging with here, what I see the work of the Climate Change Coalition more broadly and the team doing, is really democratizing these tools that have been, carefully handcrafted by folks, blood, sweat, and tears over a long time, and pushing them out into the world, making it available to anyone with an internet connection and a computer, which is a start, and then tools to build it even beyond that. And it's really kind of as simple as that, right? We have these tools. We know how to deliver projects on the ground that get or keep carbon out of the atmosphere. We know how to document these in a rigorous way to prove that grouped outcome equals this 1 ton of environmental asset, this offset. And so I really see this work turbocharging it. There's something so simple to digitizing the project idea note process and the work on from that, yet I think it's one of these, it's a punctuated equilibrium that the time has come to really put that into play. At EcoTrust Canada, we're really thrilled about this work. Our work in British Columbia and Canada really focuses around working with Indigenous communities, supporting Indigenous communities to understand their opportunities for developing nature-based solutions projects on their landscapes, to help them build capacity. And our goal is to help them build capacity to whatever level they seek within the continuum of carbon project development. Maybe it's to conceptualize how they can manifest their community's priorities on the landscape with one of these newfangled carbon projects, and then engage with partners and project developers from there. Maybe it's to upskill their whole team, their lands departments, and be able to actually hold the project development toolkits in their nation, in their community, and do that development and have that longitudinal benefit there. So the work that we're doing to build communications and capacity building toolkits, put those online and digitize them, is really part of the 1-2 punch of the work that we're doing with Evercity to be able to digitize these processes, to have a platform where multiple different stakeholders can come and collaborate on building out the project idea note and these subsequent documents. And then, of course, being able to plug this into carbon forwards in the future really solves this other issue that everyone has raised. And that is, of course, the other thing holding back the exponential growth of the space, along with documentation and digitization, is the money. And so being able to access that earlier, to be able to access that in a regimented, transparent way, is really critical. I think it's critical for the integrity of the projects. It's critical for the integrity of people engaging in them. And it's really quite delightful to get to work on engineering how that actually comes to ground with carbon forwards, and what gets delivered there, and the role of the blockchain there. It's a delight to be working on this sort of formative, I think, a kind of foundational piece of this, and bring it into the blockchain space. I know many of you through my work with Blockchain for Climate Foundation and its engagement with Climate Change Coalition. And so it's a really beautiful marriage of carbon geekery, blockchain geekery, which are so many of our geekeries, and it's just a real delight to get to talk about it. So I encourage everybody to check out these tools, to go buy some carbon forwards when you can, and to support all this great work going on. Thanks so much for the opportunity.
Thanks, Joseph. I want to just come back on one point before we move on, and because you're also on the carbon solutions with the Conference Coalition, and your discussion about Indigenous communities and projects, I think is very relevant. He speaks to potential to unlock those new types of projects, and I just expand very quickly on that.
Catherine, can you yell that really simply for me? I apologize. Yell it at me.
The Capitalist Coalition, and it is used for natural capital and capitalist projects.
Sure, and I apologize because I get the sound indirectly. But speaking about natural capital and that work, is that sort of correct? Wonderful. So carbon offsets present they're a great unit of environmental output to tokenize and to unitize. We already unitize them as carbon offsets, and tokenizing them further on the blockchain. There are, of course, so many other environmental, social, community goods and services and benefits created by the work that we do on the ground. And we found a really good carrier molecule, as it were, in carbon offsets, where we can attach these other climate assets to them. And as a carbon market guy, and as a person working in the space for a long time, I continue to sort of have an element of maybe pained maximalism, where I think that this continues to be a really good tool, a really good fungible unit to tokenize and sell. Nothing would make me happier to be able to extract. Sorry, I'll put it the other way. We need more tools than just carbon finance to be able to deliver the kind of outcomes that we want to see in the world. This is evident to everyone. And so where we are able to refine out that carbon or the other co-benefits, which is sometimes a pejorative term, and attach them to these units of carbon, then we should. And we're really excited about work going on there. And then I think when we can, in a high integrity way that really meets a marketplace demand, be able to tokenize other environmental and community goods and services in a way that respects communities, that respects the underlying integrity of this, then that will be very exciting.
Thank you very much. Last definitely and with this new experience in your organization, and what kinds
After hearing all the thoughts from Ashley and also very important to understand the technology factor. Of course, the blockchain, we can always say that the integrity is not currently happen. But how is it different from a traditional database or a cloud system? I think somewhere the role of extra verified plays a very important role. And yes, usually 157 years old company, mainly business maritime to energy transition to supply chain assurance. We are helping the entire ecosystem to reach that capability factor. So where and how a third party or when any stakeholder sees the entire ecosystem, there's some benefit out of it. They see that okay, am I investing in a right am I investing in a right ecosystem to get the desired outcome for my business? Yes, really plays a very important role to leadership to ensure the entire ecosystem, the process, the methodology, the analytics, in terms of carbon offset. Here should be one of the largest and most credible verifier in the premium region. And we are also looking at upcoming current monitoring markets and also artificial 6.4 implementation where we will see that sovereign will go to role to make the connection between corporate initiative and how the carbon projects can importantly contribute towards individuals in these countries. So the role of verifiers is very important more than before because then we are very happy to see that the emerging platforms like Evercity and where they are building their platforms in such a way that there is a role of verifiers already and assurance is becoming real time. The moment your investors or stakeholders need the assurance, if the technology can enable assurance on the same time ready to be there, I think the world would be much better. So, I think that's what I think.
thank you. And that's I'm going to just reflect on any comments.
Yeah, thank you so much, Catherine. I'm not sure I have any more comments than just highlighting again our work as climate change coalition members, maybe, because everything that we have shown you today is not something we've invented ourselves yesterday or 2 days before. It's a very consistent and hard work that we were doing not only as Evercity, but wearing other hats in my other organizations already since 2017, right? For 5 years with Catherine, with Joseph, with Anya Bond, with Miroslav, of course, with Tom Bauman, Martin Weinstein, with other people, and of course Masamba Tiroye from the UNFCCC Secretariat, working together, strategizing together, looking at various use cases, pluses and minuses of various technologies, innovating, ideating, doing projects around the globe. And finally, I'm really happy to see that Climate Change Coalition as an organization is now very mature, has now more than 400 members from 60 countries from around the globe. And what is even more important is that our mission as a Climate Change Coalition at this point is accomplished. And that's what Masamba told to all of the members. The capacity building mission is accomplished, but the new mission will be announced today, right? So come to our Climate Change Coalition presentation of the new strategy. And I also have a question to maybe Anirban. Anirban, could you tell whether you're comfortable with the distributed ledger technology in your work? and how it really changes the stuff that you're doing to, make sure the projects are doing the right things.
I would consider your perspective that when we are doing, let's say, verification or assurance of data in a physical manner, sitting across the table, we'll verify the documents and also the evidences, to support the performance of the data. What we see from a principal policy point of view of insurance is consistency, accuracy, okay, and also the immutability. With DLP, what actually helps is that it's relatively making the role or the job of the verifier more easy. Okay, we can trust on the technology, but at the same time, we have to also look at how the entire process underlying it works. There is a monitoring process, there is a data collection process. Ultimately, the platform has to be the data has to be fed by the humans. Okay, unless it is IoT connected or automated data population software. But I don't think more than 20 to 25% of such platforms exist at this point of the quarter time. So we rely on Google and the underlying processes how the data is fed to the DLT system. And if that process is not consistent and credible enough, I think with the technological advance also we will find a lot of inconsistency. So that's how DLTs are really helping us, are creating an enabling ecosystem to accelerate the assurance process. And as I mentioned earlier, that it is going to make the assurance more real time.
Thank you very much. The key words here are integrity, transparency, efficiency, and also coordination. And I understand we have a special part of today's presentation. But before we get to that, I just wanted to offer other thanks to making some comments to speak about any of those areas. You really understood not only this, but what this means for security bonds, for example. I know what you're doing with corporate promises, and actually you were an advisor in terms of the chapter that we did on that. And so I actually see this going forward for the debt you're speaking of. And this bit of humility is, as you say, it seems that our humor is exactly what we're talking about today. And I think you guys very good on this incredible launch. But not as personal factual for some questions we can.
Thanks. A good question from my side. Yeah, the discussion how we look in the future. Taking technology in, I think it's the most important part of it. It's not about we will not money with this right, it's the platforms. Yes, it's a lot of maybe. Yeah, but the money should build the society. The money should build the people who need it have a chance. Developing countries, and also the lot again with the organization in India, they have great market understanding the tools that voluntary carbon market has to be included. You see developments like South Africa is including those that's on support. As you said, I think the cities to support Paris Agreement. There's a lot of movement coming. I think this movement has to have a platform because it has to be open, transparent, yeah, and also the work doing, by creating credits is a lot of work, but it should be open, transparent, and people should know about it. And last but not least, if you look to the future that we have around the 2050, 11 million people on this planet, if you don't work only in climate, which we are here for, if you don't work in other achievements to keep the future, then I think we'll see an international movement coming. And I think then climate is not going to be this thing. Very much. Ecosystem, how government is looking at this entire technology for adoption, and also building a good connection with respect to for example, teaming ecosystem or the monetization ecosystem. We are seeing the CBDCs are also the rise. Various countries have already started various pilot instruments
maybe the carbon finance and carbon tokenization is very very useful. Can be established with digital currencies also. I think that would be a key digital way forward in terms of making the ecosystem more stronger.
Okay. I think we have to have a sign.
Yeah, but before signing, just one short statement for me. So I want to thank all of the speakers and the audience, but I also want to highlight the next steps, what we're going to do next. So of course we're planning to scale the forward product, but as you said, Catherine, we can also develop this stuff on the bond side. And the next year also is going to be the bond year for us. We're going to do some more pilots with banks and financial institutions. And then finally, this is what we're planning with Fidera and the people in the UN Secretariat to support us methodologically. We want to actually create green bonds and carbon credits. And this current project, this current step is a very important step to this further roadmap where we will be innovating further and where we will be combining those two instruments to eliminate their weaknesses and make it more attractive to projects and investors across the globe to help us reach the Paris Agreement milestones, to help us attract sustainable financing for the SMEs in developing countries.
Very well said. Thank you very much. We have time maybe for one question, please. All guests who's here in the room, you've been part of this, many of you, so please.
Every single one gets even if you're an individual, it's actually one of those really hard work. If you speak to the audience, each achievements right now, really with my team,
What do you want for? Yes. I'm just wondering from our side. When we're a team of 40 people in our headquarters, doing program management, program development, R&D, supply chain management. We do a program like in India that has about 3,000 households. It's about 250 employees in Korea. We pay implementation partners. There, for example, with currency, there are some employees and so on and so forth. We pay them per household per year. The money is going directly to them. Our beneficiaries, where we need money for, get our technology and services for free. So they get access for free or for free, for paying regularly water. That's the first. So there's been around $50 per household saving in healthcare costs, around $50 saving a firewall, and so on and so forth. So this is actually the money which is going there, and they can, some of them even started small scale vendors, creating worker, that's selling on enables and so on and so forth. It's important. It's about women empowerment groups, health businesses, and so on and so forth. This is actually, and before now, I have to get 1 million euros for 30,000 households from the market. And if we can go a different way, we get money, we need to make more of them. From our side, there's the money for that.
I think also from an investor point of view that impact what they are looking at, of course, how there is also related to social benefits in different markets. Let's say arbitrary projects can also be the social benefits part. And investors are also looking at, especially on the impact side of it, how the social return on investment are also looking at it. Plenty of is the next step of getting involved in this area?
Thank you very much. Everyone, please take photos, but before that, I would invite you to listen to the song Collaboration.
Well, after training with the entire evolving ecosystem and the leadership, kind of in terms of innovation, what Evercity platform is taking, DLD has a very credible venture fund, and we invest in a lot of startups ecosystem in terms of growing the solution. And we felt that digital green bond ecosystem or digital carbon forward ecosystem is the next step to provide solutions for our customers which we are anyway providing externally. So we are joining hands with Evercity and trying to also see that how we can support them and also in the other ecosystems there to grow this market. And what benefit here we can bring is that from customers what we have. We are speaking to them on their decarbonization journey and many of the projects which customers are taking or across the sectors are whether it is hydrogen transition to carbon capture and storage or even for seeded projects. We are really with the forefront of research and also trying to develop a lot of methodologies, validate a lot of methodologies to also try and create sort of new platforms. And taxonomy screening is a very important aspect. For an investor today, it's very important to know beforehand whether the how the project is compliant to the taxonomy of whether it is EU or any other regional taxonomy. We are very proud that Evercity has already started working or endeavoring to work with ASEAN taxonomy ASEAN project. DND is a proud consultant and a partner to develop the ASEAN taxonomy, which has been developed actually in the ASEAN context. We are also working to with the Ministry of Exchange and Ministry of Finance in UAE to develop a regional taxonomy in the Middle East and MENA region. So we are very hopeful that Evercity platform is going to help us aid in this entire journey. So today we are kind of signing a charter of collaboration which will forge our relationships together as a digital infrastructure provider and digital assurance provider. Joining hands to create the solution for the customers together.
Thanks a lot, Ivan. It's a great pleasure and honor to stand here with you and knowing that we've been in touch for 5 years, looking at the progress of respective organizations. And of course, in Evercity, our founders, myself, we come from this sustainability industry. We've been here for 10 years. We've been developing climate projects ourselves, so we know DNB is one of the leaders of this industry for many, many years. With all the market players, of course, we know DNB is one of the leaders of certification and verification and auditing services for the green finance market. So now, so to say, as you said, right? One of the dreams, when dreams come true here at COP, at this meeting and this innovation pavilion. 10 years ago, I only could have dreamed that we will be signing an MOU with DNE, with Anirban at the climate conference today. And I'm sure that this will mark a new era in digital verification, in democratization of green finance markets, not only for carbon, but also bonds. And this partnership, this MOU will lead to creation also of new opportunities, new instruments that are only being discussed but not yet implemented. So we have everything in place, all of the partners, the expertise, the knowledge, the people, to be not only the market leaders, but also the pioneers and innovators. And I thank you for this opportunity. Thank you so much for coming.